And the bodyguards march on. Chopin's funeral march played by the band of the Grenadier Guards as the Queen passes through a salute on either side of the route from the Coldstream Guards. Garter, King of Arms, in his tabard at the rear of the heralds, will later read out all the Queen's titles as she descends into the royal vault. And he will announce and proclaim the new king, as is tradition at the committal of a sovereign. As the late Queen passes through the liners from her army, she passes the Royal Regiment of Scotland. Her association with Scottish regiments goes back to 1947, when she became Colonel-in-Chief of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. The long walk that stretches right out to the Copper Horse, which shows King George III at the far end, is nearly 3 miles long. And it has been the processional route for Windsor, for royal weddings and for other state occasions. But also each year the Queen would pass down the long walk on her way to racing at Royal Ascot in the summer. It always came during the week that started with the service of thanksgiving for the Most Noble Order of the Garter. Earlier this year, the Queen became the longest serving member of the Order of the Garter in history. And it is to the heart and religious home of the Order of the Garter, St. George's Chapel, that this former sovereign of the order is being taken. And that is where she will be laid to rest, surrounded by her ancestors, who wore the garter with its motto, Honi soit qui mal y pense. Shame to those who think evil of it. The massed pipes and drums playing the Sky Boat Song, which will be followed by My Home, as the Queen passes through the core of military intelligence that her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, was Colonel-in-Chief for so many years. The band of the Household Cavalry playing Beethoven's Funeral March number 1 as the Queen passes through the third of her armed services, the Royal Air Force, giving their salute on this last part of the public journey before the Queen leaves the gaze of her public and goes through Cambridge Gate for the last approach to the entrance of Windsor Castle. The royal standard of His Majesty the King, or the state standard, flies from the top of the Round Tower. The King is here with his family waiting for the late Queen to arrive. The cortege is about to pass through Cambridge Gate, and it was here earlier in this 10 days of mourning that the Prince and Princess of Wales came with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to meet members of the public who had come to lay floral tributes and just be close by in honour of the Queen, who now passes through those gates, through the extraordinary number of flowers that have been laid all the way up Cambridge Drive, but away from the public gaze. Her 7 decades of service to them all, now done. The great Sevastopol bell now chimes within the Round Tower, captured in the Crimean War, an echo back to the 19th century of difficulties in that part of the world today. The great bell from Sevastopol was brought to Windsor, and it chimes on the death of a sovereign. As it chimes, it's replied to by the other great bell of the Belfry Tower by St. George's Chapel, as the gun too fires in salute. Terry Pendry there, the Queen's stud groom who regularly went riding with Her Majesty, holds Emma, the Queen's favourite horse, as members of the Royal Mews look on as the great equestrian Queen passes by. At the apex of all the paths that lead to the George IV gate, we see the Queen's own private apartments view out on this part of the procession. It was here that she and the Duke of Edinburgh were kept in isolation during the period of COVID, and from here that she gave her address to the nation, reminding us that we would meet again. At the conclusion of the funeral service, the crown, sceptre and orb will be removed from the coffin, and the King will be invited to place the camp colour of the company commander of the Queen's company, who the Queen was, on the coffin where it will always remain. And then the Lord Chamberlain will step forward and break his stave of office and place the two parts on the coffin before it descends. And at that point, all those in service to the late Queen are released from their duties. The sovereign is home, the minute gun fires, the Sevastopol bell rings. And a view of the people she served stretching away on the long walk. And the horses separate from the Queen, who loved horses so well, as she now passes through the quadrangle underneath the round tower. As her two corgis look on. They gave her so much pleasure in the last months of her life and became such characters from puppies as they filled the corridors with noise again and kept the Queen company. The King and his family wait to join this procession down from the upper ward through the middle ward and into the lower ward where St George's Chapel waits. Beyond the walls, in the east terrace, the cloud from the guns that fire can just be seen as the King and his family now take their position for the last part of this advance to St George's Chapel. Again, members of the household who served the Queen directly have lined up in Engine Court to make their final bow as the Queen passes by. Through the Norman Gate, and the massed pipes and drums start to play Flowers of the Forest. Flowers of the Forest is a lament that remembers the Battle of Flodden Field in 1513, when most of the Scots who fought at the battle were killed. And it has always marked the final part of a sovereign's return to Windsor, and does so for Elizabeth, Queen of Scots. In 1948, as Princess Elizabeth, she came down this hill with her husband at her side, dressed in the robes of the Order of the Garter. It was the 600th anniversary of the foundation of the Order in 1348 by King Edward III. And her father installed her as a lady of the Order of the Garter and her husband as a knight. She served as sovereign of the order from the day she became queen. She comes home to St. George's Chapel, where she'll be laid to rest beside the father who gave her that Order of the Garter. And there she will rest for eternity.